Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing a very fun yet extremely difficult to use Pokemon in the Ultra League, XL Shadow Cacturne. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Dr. Stalemate, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, Cacturne is a glass cannon. It cannot take a hit whatsoever, but it has a monster attack stat. Combine that with a great fast move in Sucker Punch and Trailblaze, which gives a guaranteed attack boost, and when this thing gets boosted, things can get quite scary. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at XL Shadow Cacturne in the Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, leading Tentacruel into a Drifblim. We're going to see a safe switch into the Panda Bear, and the Panda Bear is going to be met with Tentacruel. Very good to bait out the Poison Jab using Tentacruel here, as Poison Jab would absolutely shred through the Grass-type Cacturne. Cacturne now hopefully safe in the back once the Poison Jab user has been baited out. The Scald will not get the debuff, but even without a debuff, this Night Slash will not threaten a knockout. Pangoro is going to get KO'd, but now you can just bring back Intenta, absorb the opponent's energy, fully farm down, and leave with a bunch of energy to threaten the Drifblim. Opponent says not today. They aggressively pivot into Licky Licky. Licky Licky has farmed up quite a lot of energy. Cacturne, with a choice to make, commits the shield, and it will be the Body Slam from the Licky Licky. Cacturne gonna fire off the Trailblaze. Let's get this damage ramped up. Cacturne, its attack now boosted. Opponent has farmed up quite a bit of energy. They're one shy of the back-to-back. They Earthquake, understanding they're not gonna get two Body Slams, so they went for the Earthquake. It would do more damage. Cacturne farms down the Tentacruel. In comes the Drifblim. Oh boy, this is about to be a 2 stages boosted Cacturne. Look at the Sucker Punches! Oh my goodness, that is a XL Drifblim. That is a very bulky Mon just getting absolutely obliterated by +2 Sucker Punches. Oh my goodness. And now he can just bring in the Tentacruel, take a Shadow Ball, and take the win with the Scald. But that fast move damage was absolutely wild. Oh my goodness. We've actually got the exact same leads in the next match, Tentacruel versus Drifblim. Tentacruel throws one Poison Jab, the safe switch to Pangoro. Opponent is going to respond with Virizion. Very good to bait out Virizion, as Virizion is a wall to energy from the Cacturne. Sacred Sword does massive damage. Pangoro gets the double up on close combats, and this is massive, as now Pangoro will be able to force shield advantage or switch advantage from the opponent. Close combat number 2 is going to be no shielded, and down goes Virizion. Back in comes Drifblim. Drifblim going to be met with the Cacturne. Unfortunately, Cacturne is going to be debuffed here with an Icy Wind. Icy Wind lowering Cacturne's attack. Cacturne would love to raise that attack right back. Opponent is going to switch out into Licky Licky. Licky Licky going to take the debuff Trailblaze to switch out now into the Tentacruel. Switch clocks are a little bit misaligned. The opponent may be able to take advantage of that a bit later on. Licky Licky goes for the Shadow Ball. Even though Shadow Ball does not get same type attack bonus, it is actually slightly more efficient than going for Body Slam. The Scald is going to come through, and it does actually get the attack drop. That is very clutch. Licky Licky goes for the Body Slam, and this is what we were talking about earlier. The desync switch timers. In comes Drifblim. Drifblim baits with an Icy Wind. That's not going to KO, and now they're getting fully Sucker Punched down. Cacturne has so much energy. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Oh my goodness, we've got some spice in the next match. Tentacruel versus Genesect. And judging by the drive that's on that Genesect's back, this is not going to be fun for Tentacruel, as that is a Technoblast Electric, the Shock Drive Genesect. Tentacruel returns fire with the Scald. We now see the save switch to Pangoro. Pangoro is going to commit the shield, as Technoblast would do quite a lot of damage. Genesect is going to bait with the X-Scissor. Opponent now going to switch out into Ampharos, and Pangoro is going for the Night Slash bait. The Night Slash bait is no shielded. Great call by the opponent. Pangoro firing off another Night Slash bait. If at first you don't succeed, and there is the shield from the opponent. Pangoro tries to go for a CMP tie, but this Ampharos is just farming up so much energy. Pangoro is going to farm and take advantage of the fact that the opponent was farming too much with a beautiful catch, catching the Thunder Punch back onto that low health Tentacruel. And now do you descend in the Cacturne? I absolutely love this play. In comes the Cacturne. They do have quite a bit of energy. We are going to see a shield. It will just be the Thunder Punch. Cacturne gets the farm down. And what is going to be that final Pokemon? We know they have the very low health Genesect. It's going to be Feraligatr. Oh, trainer, this is not your day, as Feraligatr gets absolutely crushed by a Trailblaze. Cacturne now boosted. It looks like the opponent may have just force closed their app here, as Genesect is going to get knocked out by a Sucker Punch, and that's game over. Amazing lead in the next match, Tentacruel versus the Clefable. Opponent safe switches into Miltank, and this poor Miltank is about to get absolutely shredded by Pangoro. Miltank, I do think, whereas Greedent last season as the normal type of choice was a Pokemon that you could save switch, I don't necessarily agree with safe switching Miltank, to be 100% transparent, because Miltank doesn't have any steel coverage. Typically, you're going to be running Ice Beam and Body Slam, or you could even potentially run Bolt Beam and just forego Body Slam, because Body Slam is not the greatest move at the moment. But either way, you still don't have great steel coverage. In the back is a Swampert, speaking of steel coverage, but this poor Swampert is about to get completely boosted through by the Shadow Cacturne. Cacturne Trailblaze is shielded, but the problem people have is you can't shield fast moves. And now these Sucker Punches are going to start just shredding the Swampert. Oh my goodness. This can only be a Hydro. It's going to do a ton. Don't get me wrong. Shadow Cacturne is really, really frail. It's going to do a ton. Opponent realizes their Clefable cannot beat the Tentacruel, and they will resign the match. Hopping to the next match, Tentacruel versus Shadow Dragonite. Definitely nice to catch this on the lead, and you do have Blizzard as well, so you can actually win in the zeros here. Tentacruel is going to no shield as the Dragon Claw comes through from Dragonite. Tentacruel not going to build up to the Blizzard, just going for the Scald. Scald will still probably grab a shield. The Shadow Dragonite is very frail. We do not see the debuff. Tentacruel should be able to make this Scald right here. Oh, they don't get there! I believe that if the Tentacruel is actually a slightly higher rank, it does get there versus the Dragonite. That's very unfortunate that Dragonite didn't have to throw. Cacturne, oh no, Cacturne has the double shield, and now this game has completely flipped on its head. In comes Registeel, but things are suddenly looking very, very dire. Cacturne is going to fire off the Dark Pulse that does so much damage to an XL Reggie, trying to switch out and Getch, but unfortunately did not get the timing quite right. Focus Blast will pick up the KO. In comes Pangoro, but yeah, this is just game over, unfortunately. That felt like it was a charge attack priority tie as well. We are going to see the Night Slash be shielded up. Looked like Pangoro actually got the boost at the last second there. So if Pangoro was able to get through the Registeel, then a boosted Panda may have swept, but unfortunately, it will get knocked out. Picking up a positive lead in the next match, Tentacruel versus Virizion. And the Virizion is staying in, which is great news for the Tentacruel. Opponent is going to farm up, throwing on good timing. As the Virizion player, again, in a 3 versus 2 situation, you want to throw on odds. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and every time you or your opponent throws a charge move, you can reset that mental count to 0. Not building up to threaten a Blizzard means that the opponent is actually going to be able to tank that no problem, and I believe actually win the zeros. So that is a little bit rough, but you can probably just get a Sucker Punch head start here. Actually going to bring in Pangoro to get 2 Karate Chops. And now, in comes Ampharos. We're going to see a switch out into the Cacturne as Cacturne continues to farm. This will only be a resisted move. Cacturne is going to no-shield. It will be the Trailblaze. That still does a lot of damage. And now we just have the battle of Trailblazers here, as Trailblaze is going to pick up the knockout, and in the back is Feraligatr. The opponent resigns instantly, realizing they're just going to get farmed all the way down. Great lead in the next match, leading the Tentacruel into Talonflame. Opponent save switches into a Volt Switch Fortress. Volt Switch, definitely an improvement in terms of fast move quality for Fortress. I'm not sure how I feel about it in the Ultra League, however. Fortress is going to connect with an Earthquake. That does significant damage to Pangoro. Pangoro now going to launch a Close Combat. Close Combat is shielded. Next Volt Switch will be lethal. This does set up some very nice Cacturne farm, but Cacturne is now going to be aligned onto the Talonflame, which is a little bit rough. Earthquake is shielded up by the Cacturne. In comes Talon. Throwing 1 Sucker Punch and deferring the Incinerate is a really nice high-level play there, because you get extra damage on the Cacturne, but you don't actually take any damage. and it looks like the opponent is actually core broken by the Tentacruel, so things are looking quite good. As Feraligatr can throw Hydro after Hydro, but unfortunately for them, the Tentacruel is pretty unfazed by this. Tentacruel is going to commit the shield. Tentacruel would love to get this farm down, and does get the farm down. That is massive. Tentacruel could have thrown 2 and the move there. Scald is going to be shielded up. Now we see the switch to the Cacturne. Cacturne going for the Dark Pulse. Let's see this damage. This is non-boosted. This is just a base Dark Pulse. That does so much damage. They couldn't even farm down the Cactus. They have to throw, and then they just get KO'd by a Scald and they lose. That damage, even when non-boosted, is absolutely wild. This thing cannot take a hit whatsoever, but its attack stat is absolutely crazy. We see a completely unexpected Pokemon in the next match, Tentacruel versus a Clodsire. Why is there a Clodsire on my screen? We are in the Ultra League. Opponent is going to make a nice catch, catching Scald onto Golisopod. Unfortunately for them, Golisopod still doesn't do well against Tentacruel. And we actually see the Scald get the debuff. That's really unfortunate luck for the opponent. Tentacruel going to bank a ton of energy. Golisopod is going to fire off X-Scissors, so they are running a moveset that is fully walled by Tenta. Tenta, again, more than happy to no-shield. Opponent will go for the liquidation, and now enter Pangoro. Pangoro looking to pick up the knockout with a Night Slash onto Golisopod. Golisopod, can it survive here? It cannot. Back in comes Clodsire. Clodsire banked a ton of energy, but Clodsire, it's mainly built to be a Great League Pokemon, so in the Ultra League, it's not going to inflict a lot of damage. They're actually running the Community Day move of Mega Horn, I guess to try and have a fighting chance against Cresselia, but even so, that's got to be tough considering you're about 300 combat power less than the maximum for this format. These Night Slashes are actually shredding through this Clodsire. Oh my goodness. Clodsire goes for another Mega Horn. Down goes Pangoro. In comes Tentacruel. Tentacruel going for the Blizzard here, wanting to guarantee a knockout. Opponent will commit the shield. Tentacruel making it to the Scald now. Honestly, could have thrown Scald the first time, but I guess going for a little bit of style points. Opponent, oh no, they gave up both shields. It's Shadow Cacturne time. They're going to go for a Mega Horn. Opponent refusing to throw a move other than the Calm Day Mega Horn. They do it again. What are they doing? Oh my goodness. What is that second move that they're not willing to throw it here? I'm so confused. In the back, it's Feraligatr, and it does not matter as the opponent will resign the match. A familiar lead and a welcome one in the next match, Tentacruel versus Virizion. Opponent save switches into Registeel, and Registeel will quickly be answered with Pangoro. One close combat will not KO Registeel. Registeel is very bulky, so at the very least, Registeel can guarantee shield advantage out of this matchup. Registeel goes for a Zap Cannon. Unfortunately, Zap Cannon does not debuff nearly as often as it used to. Pangoro massively overfarming, going for the Night Slash. Night Slash will secure the knockout onto Registeel. In comes Virizion. Unfortunate timing there from the Panda as a double kick does go through. Close combat is going to connect. That does so much damage. Opponent tries for a farm down, and now they have to give up a shield. Close combat into Virizion. They no shield. It's a Regirock in the back. And unfortunately, Cacturne just takes the day off because that's a Pangoro sweep. Picking up a terrible lead in the next match, Tentacruel versus Powder Snow, Alolan Sandslash. Sandslash stays into the Pangoro save switch to chip it, but they lose valuable health in the process. They're now going to send out Machamp. Machamp going to get smacked with a close combat. This will inflict massive damage. Shadow Machamp, not the bulkiest. They will commit the shield. Pangoro only able to get the Night Slash. How well was the opponent counting? They were counting perfectly as they know to no shield. This does set up Tentacruel to actually be able to threaten that Sandslash quite well. Machamp is running Rock Slide. I'm very surprised to see Rock Slide being run here. Rock Slide, not the greatest move. Granted, some Pokemon, it's their only choice, but Machamp is a choice of Stone Edge and Payback, both of which are better in this format. Tentacruel going to commit the shield as it's another Rock Slide. In comes the Sandslash, but Sandslash now at a massive energy disadvantage. Scald number 1 will connect, getting that Sandslash very low. Tentacruel able to make Scald number 2, putting the opponent in a bit of a bind. The Scald is actually going to be no-shielded. In the back is Skeledirge. Oh my goodness, the poor Cactus, it's getting melted. Oh no, Cacturne. And that's going to be game over there. The Sucker Punches did a lot, but Cacturne is just so frail. And unfortunately, Tentacruel is going to get outpaced here, as unfortunately, Cacturne just did not have the health required to take that win. Hopping into the final match, great lead Tentacruel into Clefable, opponent save switches into Virizion, so they have no response to a Tentacruel so far. This is honestly a little bit awkward, because the opponent has so far been extremely strong into Dark, and that's what Stalemate has in the back. He's forced to switch out, but if the opponent plays it right, they can guaranteed flip switch. Panda Bear is going to fire off the close combat. All the opponent has to do is shield, and they can just farm down and win switch, but they decide to let it go. Instead, going for energy on Clefable and desync switch timers. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't choose to flip switch, because their third Pokemon has to do well into Tentacruel. Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. So they have 0 Tentacle counters on the team, and that's why they didn't play for switch, because switch advantage doesn't actually help them in this situation. In comes the Cacturne. Cacturne would get shredded by either an X-Scissor or an Aerial Ace. It is the X-Scissor. Oh no! X-Scissor would probably KO like 3 Cacturnes. That is double super effective damage. We are going to see the double shield from the Cacturne. Cacturne is able to get that farm down, and now Cacturne can start ramping up damage with Trailblaze. Opponent still has 2 shields remaining. The Trailblaze is no shielded. They're saying that future Trailblazes will do more, but the issue they're going to run into is they're just going to run out of HP. We're now going to see a switch into the Tentacruel. Tentacruel going for the Scald. This will force the final shield. And this Clefable is going to have to fire off so many Swifts to get through this Tentacruel. They go for the Moonblast. Moonblast will do quite a bit of damage. They're going to fire off energy here. Swift, I believe, should be enough to knock out here. Oh, they're actually on Meteor Mash. They're not on Swift. In comes the Cacturne, and Cacturne gets the farm down. If Clefable had Swift, they could have won due to pacing, but unfortunately, they do not. All in all, Shadow Cacturne is definitely the epitome of a high-risk, high-reward Pokemon. It is very glassy and its coverage is a bit limited. So in battle alignment, it's going to lose and lose pretty severely. However, with careful gameplay, if you're able to set it up to get an energy lead and get some of those boosts going, that damage is frankly pretty absurd. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.